Hello, hello! Welcome to another playthrough of the Nancy Drew Adventure Series. Today I'm going to be playing game number 6, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. This game was released in 2002, so 20 years ago. Seems a little crazy. And I'm really looking forward to playing this game. It became one of my favorites. It took a while. The first time I played it, I enjoyed it. The second time I played it, I think I almost hated it. I don't know why. And then I feel like I didn't play it for a good 3 years, which is a good chunk of time. Decided to play it again. Decided I actually loved the game. And quite enjoy playing it. It's got a great soundtrack. I love the setting. And I don't know, there's something about it. For someone who doesn't normally care about history, I really enjoy this museum setting. So let's start playing.
Welcome to my latest case, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial.
I'm going to select Senior Detective, as usual.
Dear Dad, greetings from the new Deputy Curator at Beach Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I miss you, by the way. How's Africa? I sure hope this letter reaches you in Ouagadougou before you move on to Nairobi. So I got the internship. Your old friend Franklin Rose was awfully nice to submit my name to the rest of the members of the museum's board of directors. What an opportunity while I'm in between cases. As you probably know, the museum specializes in ancient Maya culture. My supervisor is going to be Joanna Riggs, a well-known archaeologist. Maybe you've seen her name in the news recently, in conjunction with the discovery of a strange Maya monolith. Apparently it's created quite a buzz among experts in the field. Well, Beach Hill plans to feature the monolith in an upcoming exhibition. Just imagine, this artifact has been buried for hundreds of years, and now it's going to be unveiled to the public for the first time. The museum is short-staffed at the moment, and they're expecting such a huge turnout that they've closed their doors to prepare. I can hardly wait to dig into this exciting project and learn how archaeologists and historians solve the mysteries of ancient cultures. I'll keep you posted. Love, Nancy.
Nancy Drew, I presume. I'm Joanna Riggs. Welcome to Beach Hill. I was just checking the lock on this display case. This is one of the museum's most treasured pieces, a carving of King Pakal.
Who is King Pakal?
Pakal assumed the throne at age 12. Can you imagine? That was 615 A.D. He ruled for 68 years at the height of the Maya civilization.
Is that jade?
Yes, the Maya loved jade and used it for many of their carvings. There isn't another piece like this in the world, and it's priceless, which means I practically had to sell my own grandmother to get it.
How did the museum acquire it?
Leave it to Taylor Sinclair. He's a wizard when it comes to these deals. You'll meet him later. Now then, Nancy, you're coming on board at a critical time for Beach Hill. An exhibit of this caliber is not kid stuff. Franklin Rose assures me you're a real trooper, and I hope he's right, because I'm not here to babysit. I don't care who your father is.
I quite like, pardon me, sorry, I quite like that introduction. I like that we're sort of given a bit of a lay of the land. We see sort of one of our, anyways, key pieces of history at the museum. Plays an important role in the story. So it's a bit of a different start, and I really like it. Even though we don't actively participate in any of that first bit of dialogue, I still think it's a really nice introduction to the museum.
If there's one thing I've learned from my father, it's the value of hard work. Just tell me where to start.
There's a list of tasks for you in the lab. Once you've knocked those off, we'll regroup.
Before I dig in, can you tell me about the exhibit we're gearing up for?
In addition to our permanent collection, we're borrowing rare pieces from museums and private collectors around the world. Soon we'll be sitting on the most fabulous collection of Maya artifacts ever assembled in one place. And now that we've scored the monolith too, Beach Hill sera numero uno.
And that's a real thing, to borrow pieces from other collections and have sort of traveling exhibits. I went to one, it was a few years ago. It was pre-COVID, because it was one of the last times I traveled. Went to a city I used to live in, and I almost always go to the museum when I go down there, because the exhibit often changes, and they happen to have a Maya exhibit. And I was really excited because it was very reminiscent of this game. I mean, the setup was quite different, a very small exhibition space and not as interactive as what we see in the game here. But it was really neat. I really enjoyed that traveling exhibit. It was really cool.
Was the monolith excavated in Mexico?
Yes, a hot young team of archaeologists, Americans and Mexicans both, dug it out of a cave near Palenque. Every curator from here to Siberia was trying to get a hold of it, but I'm the one who closed the deal.
Why do you mention the nationalities of the archaeologists?
Because in archaeology, everyone wants to be king of the sandbox. I became a curator because I want to help make artifacts available to as many people as possible. That's all that matters, isn't it? Unless you're Alejandro del Rio.
Who's Alejandro del Rio?
Ugh, wouldn't you rather hear about the monolith? It's a massive pillar of stone, nearly 1,500 years old, with Maya glyphs carved into it. We've installed it in the garden. Wait until you see it.
I love her. Ugh. I like it when they have that written in for characters, or maybe the voice actor just chooses to do it themselves. But it adds some authenticity to the characters. Makes them a bit more believable and relatable.
Could you explain what a glyph is?
A glyph, as in hieroglyphic, is a picture that represents a word or an idea. Henrik is the human encyclopedia on the subject.
How do you translate them?
Henrik can help you with that.
Henrik, is he on staff here at the museum?
Henrik Vanderhume, world-renowned expert in Maya hieroglyphics. He's the latest addition to the Beach Hill Brain Trust. I told him I don't even want to see his pointy Vander head till he's got a translation on that monolith.
Thanks for the orientation, Joanna. I'll talk to you later.
Bye!
Okay. I really like all the little bits of artifacts that we can look at in her office. It just looks so neat. And anytime we get to just look at things that don't necessarily play into the story, I think it's just a nice touch.
Topeka Commission for the Arts. How cultured.
All right. I went to click when I was rotating to the side. You don't have to click. So this is one of those game component changes. I don't know what to call it. I pointed out in earlier videos where the cursor coloring kind of changed. So in Secret of the Scarlet Hand, we have a little change, and that's just how we move from side to side. You don't have to click, and we have this sort of circular pair of arrows to indicate turning. I also really love this track that just started. It's one of my favorites of this game. This game has one of the all-time best soundtracks, in my opinion. When I used to work at a bookstore, and I know I mentioned this, I think it was when I was playing the final scene, I'd sometimes listen to the soundtracks at work. This was the one I listened to the most. I just loved the beat of it. It's energizing, it just sounds so great. You can't see me, but I'm bopping around to the tunes. I've never bought any of the soundtracks, but this would be the one to tempt me. This is the loan agreement. Marquis de Falcon. That makes me think of like the Marquis in the final scene and Nick Falcone from the final scene. They often play with the names. Beeswax. Punchy LaRue. That's a name we see a few times, or hear a few times in the games.
Topeka Commission for the Arts. That's the organization Prudence Rutherford works for.
Okay, let's go look at the actual museum. Huge, like high ceilinged. It's really well organized aisles of different topics. I'll just start taking things while I can. This one I believe is locked. Mm-hmm.
You must be Nancy, the new deputy curator. I'm Henrik Vanderhume.
That's right, I'm Nancy. Joanna tells me you're translating the glyphs on the Palenque monolith.
Yes, it's quite a project. The opportunity of a lifetime for me.
Why are you wearing that mask?
Oh, these dusty old artifacts are murder on my allergies. Anyway, what can I do for you?
I'm curious about your work. How do you go about translating a glyph anyway?
It can be a complicated process, involving research, piecing lots of different elements together, and a healthy dose of guesswork.
That could be potentially a bit frustrating. Also a lot of fun, but might get annoyed if you can't quite figure out the translation. It would be a neat thing to try and do, though. I'd certainly respect his work.
So there isn't a definitive dictionary of Maya glyphs where you can look things up?
Oh, I'm afraid not. You see, glyphs are so intricate and full of subtleties that multiple meanings may be embedded in a single glyph. So 3 distinct-looking glyphs may all translate to mean sunshine, roughly, but with different nuances. There is so much we still don't know. Lucky for me, I guess, or I'd be out of a job.
Joanna turned me loose without too many instructions. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, as you've probably heard, the museum is closed in preparation for the exhibit, so you'll have free run of the place. Please explore. The sooner you get to know your way around, the better. Think of the lab as your home base, your center of communications. Anyone who wants to get in touch with you will leave a note or a voicemail here, so check in often. I'm very busy with my work, so you're going to have to be pretty independent, but I suspect you wouldn't have it any other way.
He's read me right.
See you around, Henrik.
I suspect you will.
Oh, I also love this track. So these are our tasks that we have to complete. Start with the bubble wrap. 9963.
You have no voicemail. Press 9 for an outside line.
Should probably call Franklin Rose also.
Silvio's curatorial bonanza.
Excellent, and we have 3 different options for how we'd like to first speak with Silvio Jr.
I'd like to place an order, please.
Have you ordered from us before?
Well, I haven't personally, but the museum has.
Okay, good. That saves me a lot of paperwork. What's the account number?
BH119K.
BH119K? Beach Hill? Are you serious?
You sound surprised. I guess you were expecting Sunny June?
I was expecting Beach Hill to settle its accounts with me about 6 months ago. I've sent all 6 of the outstanding invoices to a collection agency. And you jokers won't get another packing peanut out of Silvio Jr. ever. Do not call here again.
Should have pointed this out before I selected the option, but Nancy mentioned Sunny June. I don't know that he's actually come up in the game yet. I don't know that I've seen any of his stuff. I mean, beyond doodles on the task list. I don't think Nancy knows who he is. Anyways, let's see if we can call Franklin.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose.
May I speak to Franklin Rose, please?
Who may I say is calling?
This is Nancy Drew.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, great to hear from you. How's the internship treating you? Are Joanna and Henrik showing you the ropes?
I like when she first calls him. She's so polite and formal. Well, you might say formal. For me, that's just the way you should greet people on the phone. But it's always sort of stood out to me that just how respectful Nancy sounds when she makes that phone call.
I've got a lot to learn about the Maya, but Joanna and Henrik seem very knowledgeable.
Glad to hear you're settling in. I'm off to a meeting, but feel free to call me if you have any questions.
I'm sure everything's going to be smooth sailing, Mr. Rose.
Bye, kiddo.
I'd say Nancy just jinxed everything by making that statement. Well, let's cross that off, even though we didn't do anything. Another little thing I appreciate. First open the drawer, the knob rolls. They didn't have to do that. It could have just sat there. Although maybe it would have blended in and might not have been noticeable as an object to pick up. But either way, I like that they took the time to put in that little, animation sequence. Just gives things another little touch. And here we have the introduction to Cocoa Kringle bars, which come up again in later games. I wonder if her Interactive realized sort of the legacy that this edition would wind up being. And same with Sunny June. I bet they didn't anticipate his recurrence or reappearance in subsequent games. I love his doodles. He's hysterical. These are important, at least helpful. I know I'm missing pieces, so I can't actually do that task at the moment. Let's check out shipping and receiving. This I will deal with in a bit. Just going to take a look at this thing even though I can't do anything with it yet. I always do this every time I play the games. I go and explore, even though I know I don't have to. Like, I know the sequence of the game. This I have to go look at. There's one of the pieces I need. Well, we can look at this like manifest or whatever this is. Shipping schedule, I don't know. My favorite track is back. Check out this pyramid tower thingamabob. I have the card. I guess I can start some of this. How many tries is it going to take me this time? I played this game back in March. I think I had to play this a few times. Or at least it took a really long time to win the game. It's funny, I selected to play against the computer, and yet I still have total control of both pieces. Yes. One down. 3 to go. Oh, come on. Halfway there. Do one more. That was almost pointless. Pointless, by the way, is a fantastic game show in Britain. I was watching it recently, that's why that's suddenly come up when I say the word pointless. Oh, this might have been dumb. Oh, Glyph. It's not making this easy. A really strong start. Oh. Oh, he's gonna roll a 1, isn't he? Yep. Okay. Oh, man. I feel like that was a bad idea. Oh, okay. Oh, finally. One more. Let me roll a 1. Nope. Not happening. Jesus. Oh, come on now. Let me roll a 3. Okay, let me roll a 1. This is going to be the most boring thing for you to watch. I apologize. Because there's no way to just win this game. It's all a matter of chance. Oh, here we go. Success! Yes, hooray, cheers. It would have really sucked if I'd forgotten to put in my card.
I should put in my temple key card.
Yes, I know. I just don't know all of these yet. Oh, it doesn't matter. The water's not on here. Okay, you're a digit. You're 19. Are you north? Huh. Yes. I think this one's road. Which one is black and which one's ink? I think that one's thrown. Oh, it's not. What are you? You're ink. Okay. Are you black? Which means you're thrown. You're road. 19 and north. Some of these I kind of have memorized. Same with these, like I haven't gone through the actual exhibits in the game, and that's where you find the answers to this. For this quiz, they're all in sort of the temple room of the exhibit, so not in the garden, which Nancy hasn't gone to yet in the game. And I have most, if not all of these memorized. Spelling it correctly? Nope, that was right this time. Even when I played this back in March, I couldn't remember this one. No. Ha, figured it out. Yes. So I could go down to the next level of the temple. I'm not right now. Although, then I could talk to Henrik about missing one of the answers. No. Part of it is because I haven't been to the garden and it just feels really out of order if I don't go there first. Some important stuff happens here. And I love sort of the background sounds here. It sounds like you're outdoors, out in the jungle. It's very effective. Very smart aspect. We're gonna meet Taylor Sinclair soon. Creep.
Looks like this side is missing a part.
Nancy Drew, or should I say, Detective Drew. I'm Sinclair.
That is quite the tie he's wearing. Do not care for it.
Who told you I was a detective?
I was at a meeting with the BOD recently, and I caught wind of your appointment and your credentials. Very impressive, if I do say so myself.
The BOD?
That would be the board of directors, those cranky old cats. They do keep the ducks squared away around here, I'll give them that. So, how's this for a specimen? Ever seen $1 million worth of rock before?
Do diamonds count?
Ouch. Well, they did say you were sharp. Seriously, though, thank goodness you're here. I'm afraid the museum may be in terrible jeopardy.
And she has seen one big honkin' diamond and treasure in the Royal Tower, so she can say that.
What kind of jeopardy?
Joanna told me to butt out, but I'm so fond of Beach Hill, I just hate to see it fall prey to scoundrels.
What scoundrels?
It's a sensitive subject. Meet me in my office later and I'll explain everything then.
Where's your office?
707 Bing Cherry Boulevard. I've got to go. Enjoy your first day at Beach Hill!
this.
There, now I can start putting this together.
Oh, that is right. It just looked a little off. I like this task. It's actually pretty easy.
That's done.
I mean, if you don't get the right piece right away, you just try a different one. There we go. Couple things still to do. I'm gonna wait on that one. I'll wait on that one. Probably do that one soon. I'm going to leave the museum. That's the right moment for me. Okay, where to first? Ooh. I'll do the hotel last. I'll go meet Alejandro first, then I'll go talk to Taylor. I love this little metro map. I like that that's how we travel in this game. I like that they show us the route. Again, this track, it's so good.
How may I help you?
Buenos dias. Me llamo Nancy Drew. I have some paperwork for you regarding the loan of the Palenque monolith to Beach Hill.
So, you're Joanna Riggs' newest pirate in training. How does it feel to join the ranks with the modern-day conquistadors?
I like that Nancy greets him in Spanish and that she doesn't just stick with her native language of English. I mean, the rest of the conversations are in English. But I think it's a sort of a sign of respect when you speak with someone in their native tongue. I know when I run into my old elementary school teachers, we speak in French together. I've lost a lot of my French. My grammar is horrific, but I always make that effort. We always at least greet each other in French. And then often the rest of the conversation's in English because I don't remember all the words anymore. You get out of practice when you don't speak it on a regular basis, which is too bad.
I beg your pardon, but how does a deputy curator become a pirate in your book?
You had better brush up on your history, young lady. When the Spanish explorers invaded Mexico, they became known as the conquistadors, or conquerors. They robbed the indigenous peoples of their wealth, not just their gold, but their artwork, their sacred objects. Anything they did not steal, they burned to the ground.
Alejandro, I understand that many crimes were committed in the name of exploration, but that was hundreds of years ago. What does this have to do with Beach Hill?
There is more. In the 19th century, archaeologists discovered the ruins of ancient civilizations predating even the Aztecs. Many of the dig sites were robbed, and the stolen artifacts were sold off to art museums and collectors around the world. Today, finally, it is illegal among most civilized nations to remove an artifact from its native country. But sadly, there are thousands of precious antiquities with highly questionable provenance floating around the Western world.
I love this topic. I think it's fascinating. This idea of theft, and especially when it comes to art. I don't know why I find that so intriguing. I think this makes for a great storyline that we're going to get into as we progress through the game. And I love that we don't just mention it, but we actually talk about it. It's a proper discussion and looked into decently deeply in the game.
But Joanna only wants to display this artwork, to celebrate it, so the public will be able to enjoy it and learn about your people's great talents and achievements.
If the American public wants to see our art, they should come to Mexico.
And that's an interesting debate you could have. Should those pieces stay in their homeland, or should they travel so more people can see them? I can see both sides, and I respect both sides of that debate. Like I'd mentioned at the beginning of the game, I saw sort of a traveling Mayan exhibition a couple of years ago, and I really loved that I was able to see it and learn these things without having to go to the country, because that was a little out of my budget. So it was nice to be able to share that history through traveling exhibits. But it is also, in my view, a bit more impactful when you're in the country to see those pieces of history and read those stories, hear those stories. It's one of the things I love about traveling.
What do you mean by questionable provenance?
An artifact's provenance is the story of its origin and ownership. For example, how it made its way from a temple at Chichen Itza to a museum in Washington, D.C. If the artifact's provenance reveals that it has been stolen, then that artifact must be returned to the country of its origin.
Then the relics at Beach Hill must all be legitimate, right?
No, not at all. Provenance documents are often tampered with or forged to cover up the theft. Because of this, thefts continue and a great deal of art is moved on the black market, even today. Unethical art dealers and greedy museum curators do nothing to stop this.
Yeah, it's quite the problem. And again, I find it really interesting. I think it's a really... rich is maybe not the right word, but it's what I want to use, a rich idea and story concept that's being covered in this game. I really enjoy it.
Are you suggesting Beach Hill is involved in these kinds of misdealings?
If Joanna Riggs or that overstuffed pillowhead Sinclair had any decency, they would take measures to see that all Maya artifacts were returned to Mexico at once, where they belong.
And what if these measures are not taken?
My country will have its due, Nancy, even if I have to begin reclaiming its artifacts with my own two hands.
It's quite the warning he's giving there.
I admire your conviction, Alejandro. Lucky for me, the Palenque monolith is only here on loan from Mexico.
I am still not happy that such a rare find will have its debut exhibition on American soil.
That's fair.
But in my country, too, there are people for whom money talks. I will take those documents now.
The first time I played this game, I had no idea what documents I was supposed to give him, because I partly didn't remember that's what this piece of paper was, but also, I mean, it was a folded paper airplane that I found on the floor. I felt like I was missing the documents and legitimately thought I was stuck, that I'd forgotten to pick them up and was going to have to start all over.
Thank you. I have some business with Joanna at the museum later, so I will return the contract to her then, after I have looked it over.
Are you sure? I don't mind waiting.
You may consider your mission accomplished.
Well, okay then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, now let's go see what has Taylor in a tizzy.
It's about time. Oh, my fears are like maggots infesting my poor old carcass. Want a cookie? They're from Oaxaca.
He's all serious and scared, and then suddenly, want a cookie?
No, thank you. You said Beach Hill is in jeopardy. I need to know why.
The art world is being ransacked, Nancy. Prudence Rutherford, a major patron of the arts, had her fire ruby necklace stolen from her villa in Topeka. 2 weeks later, a whole display case full of rare Maya artifacts was heisted from a museum in New Mexico.
And here we're getting into a deeper part of the story that plays out throughout the game. All these thefts, again, of art. Again, I love this storyline.
Do you think there's a connection between the two thefts?
Who knows? I'm just telling you, this community, our friends and colleagues, my people are being systematically trounced by thugs. Who's to say Beach Hill won't be next? You've got to do something.
Doesn't Beach Hill have a security system in place?
The museum has a basic alarm system, but it's not exactly state-of-the-art. I've urged Joanna to approach the board about making some security upgrades, but she just keeps saying that the timing isn't right to ask for money.
I understand your concern, but what can I do to help?
We need your eagle eyes. We need your bat ears. We need you to sniff out the stink of trouble.
I like that line. It also makes me think of Alibi and Ashes, because there's that game that you play in Scoop, and this is one of the quotes.
I'll do my best, but it sounds like what you really need is a new breed of police dog.
Don't play modest mouse with me.
Modest mouse? Most people call me Nosy Parker. But anyway, tell me something about the art business. Is that a contemporary painting?
You bet your socks it is. Would you believe I dug it up in my backyard?
No, but I could humor you. I guess that would make the painting a genuine artifact?
How about that rubber shark? The artist's name is Poppy Dada. She's a teenager in South Dakota. The art world is going bananas over her stuff. I'll unload that one for some serious dinero.
And Poppy Dada is, I don't think it's the actual name, but I think it's a play on a name of an actual artist. I remember coming across, I think it was an art book by the artist of the similar name to this. And as soon as I saw it, I realized, like my brain went to this game and I thought, oh, that's where Poppy Dada comes from. But in this moment now, I can't remember what the name is, if it is Poppy Dada or what, how different it is, where the change is. But this is meant to relate to an actual artist, the name Poppy Dada.
Is Poppy Dada her real name?
I don't know.
Joanna says you performed an act of wizardry in helping Beach Hill acquire the Pakal carving.
Getting those provenance docs together was a pig and a half. Oh, they're on the up and up, I assure you. But to have been at the height of my career back before the crackdown, those were the days.
Pig and a half, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. To me, that's a unique expression.
A pig and a half?
Maybe sometime I'll tell you a sad story I call How Mexico Lost Its Sense of Humor. Not today, though, Nancy.
Well, let's just be blunt with him about Alejandro.
Alejandro says you're unethical, a modern-day conquistador, that you're robbing Mexico of its cultural history.
And I say Alejandro is the real bully of the playground, a lunch money extortionist who loves nothing more than to see the other boys and girls go hungry.
When you sell a piece of art, what kind of commission do you get?
Standard, 10%. It's no king's ransom, unless of course you sell something for $1 million. Too bad I'm not allowed to put that monolith on the market, huh?
You would like to.
I'd better get going.
Bye now.
Yeah, goodbye. I don't like you. You're creepy. Okay, now to the hotel. Oh, evening. Well, I guess that was timed pretty well. It's unintentional. Okay. Let's put in Sunny's desk. And because I have this memorized, I can just put it in and it works. Okay, in the reason I've gone to this. So if you haven't played the game, this is where you can get sort of some of the answers for one of your tasks. You do have to deal with the narrations, and some of them are already set up correctly. I don't have a notebook that came with this game, so I don't have these written down, at least in a place that's easily accessible. I have them on note papers somewhere. I think they're in the crawl space. They're nowhere near me, so I actually have to write these down. B8, E1, F6, H15, I3, K12, L4, M2, N10, and O is 11. Okay. Excellent. And to figure out the Mayan numbering system, Sunny's notes are beyond useful. They're incredibly important. The only thing I need to look at are the ones that look like faces. Not 1, 2, 3. Looks like a doctor. I'll write that down. I don't remember which ones look like people or look like faces. So 4, no. 5, no. 6 might be 1. 6. X eye patch. Because I kind of remember the pieces. Like 7 is not one. Where's a rectangle? That's not one of the pieces, so I know I can ignore that. 8, no. 9, I think, is 1. 13. 14, 15. Okay, all these ones look like the other ones, but with the removable jaw. Okay. And this is important, the login and password. That's June and Space Baby. This doesn't actually matter. Close that. If we wanted to sort of keep track of things Nancy's been doing, you can do that with this notes file on her laptop. Let's see, 7:15, I'm not going to the museum. Oh, I didn't mean to go that far, wasn't paying attention. 8 a.m., sure. Can't look in her suitcase on this trip. Sometimes we can. This is not one of those instances.
Good thing Franklin gave me the museum key.
Yes, that's right. Put them back. You know what? I might as well see if I can speak with Joanna while I'm here.
How are the tasks coming along?
When did Henrik come on board?
I got an email from him one day saying he heard the news about Beach Hill getting the monolith. He said he'd drop everything to come here and translate those glyphs. He was even willing to take a pay cut. What could I say except giddy up? You're hired.
Where was he working before?
At the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center in New Mexico.
Do you think Alejandro would go to extreme measures, like stealing, to reclaim Mexico's artifacts?
That's a good question.
Who knows?
Given the way he was speaking with Nancy, I think that's a valid concern to have.
I've got work to do.
Semper ubi sabubi.
I think that translates to always wear clean underwear. Or was that the one from Message in a Haunted Mansion that Abby says? I don't remember. Okay. Oh, right, I still have to do the narrations. But let's start with the Mayan numbering system. So So now I have the 2 tiles that were missing. You are 0. You are 5. That is 5. There's 1. There it is. So 2. I didn't write down a 2. I might be overlooking it. It's entirely possible. Okay. I'm really bothered by the fact that I can't picture what 2 is. Oh, okay, that one's 4. T on the cheek is 13. This is 10. That's 10 there, yep. Well, that looks like a doctor. I saw it was number 3. This is 17. Is that 17? 16. Did I write that one down? That might be 2. X eye patch is number 6. That's 6 there. That's 7. That's 8. That's 14. That's 16. You are 9. That's the right spot. 10, 11. So it's got to be 19. Because it's the same face but with the movable jaw. There we go.
That looks right.
Super. Okay, so before I cross anything more off my lists, let's do these. Okay, so I know I have to change A.
The Maya used different methods to represent numbers. Here is an example.
Wait, that's not the way I wanted to do this. No, no, no. Don't start there. Oh, geez. I wasn't expecting that.
Beach Hill's been hit. Sit tight, Nancy. The police are on their way.
I thought that was going to come in a little while. I wasn't expecting that just yet. Alright.
I should talk to Joanna before I touch anything.
So here's where our mystery, like, officially begins. Oops.
Come in. Someone has cooked up my worst nightmare and served it to me on a plate.
I'm sorry about the theft, Joanna. It must be a terrible loss for the museum.
That's the understatement of the year.
I don't know if Franklin Rose mentioned this, but I do have some experience with detective work. Do you mind if I check out the crime scene?
The police took some samples for the crime lab, but they couldn't promise any overnight results. So if you want to put your little magnifying glass up to the scene, it's fine with me.
What were their initial findings?
Who knows? Right now, my priority is to get a move on this insurance claim.
I've got work to do.
See you around.
Okay. The other tasks can wait. Went too far. No Henrik. Now let's just call Franklin Rose. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Note from Henrik.
You have voicemail.
Nancy, hi. It's Franklin Rose. I'm calling because it's just... This theft is very bad news for the museum. You can't imagine the limb we went out on to acquire that Pakal carving. It's been one of the museum's main attractions. I don't want to take you away from your internship, but if you can do a little investigating, well, I think I speak for the whole board when I say we'd be very grateful. Give me a call when you have a chance. And Nancy, thanks.
To replay messages, press 0. Press 9 for an outside line.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, hello. Do you have any news?
Not really, but something tells me this case is going to get complicated.
Oh, Nancy, you zero in on a case like a heat-seeking missile, don't you? I feel so much better knowing you're going to follow up on every lead. I'll help in any way I can.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay. So now we have our task, our actual assignment to help solve this theft, which is our mystery. Okay. I guess I can I can cross off some of these. So now I'd like to analyze the handprint. Do not operate without permission. Well, we're going to say that I have permission.
I shouldn't be messing around with this without permission.
Never mind. I will get permission.
Need something?
Have you seen Henrik? I found a piece of paper inside the Pakal display case. It had some glyphs on it and a print of a red hand. I'm hoping he can give me a translation.
What am I, fish food? Henrik's not the only one around here who can read a glyph, you know.
I also love that line. What am I, fish food?
Okay, great. Did you happen to see the thief's message?
The police showed me the note. It said, "The magician suffers yellow death," whatever that means. Apparently, the thief just couldn't come up with the glyphs for "the curator suffers flaming purple disgrace."
I'm curious about the red handprint the thief left. Does it have any significance in Maya culture?
Afraid I can't help you there. What I want to know is what the hand was printed with. It's obviously not finger paint. Why don't you do a little analysis on it in the lab?
Okay, I can do that.
I haven't seen Henrik since the theft. Where do you think he could be?
Who knows?
That's the answer to a lot of things. Who knows? Don't think Henrik said it yet, but I think he does, or says a variation of it later on. Taylor has said it, and Joanna has said that. Okay, so now, I always think it's weird that I have to turn that on before I put the sample in.
Okay, I've got a graph of the chemical used for the handprint. Now I've got to match it up with a known substance.
Pretty simple task here.
That's it!
Yes. And this is what made me interested in chemistry. This small little task and looking over at the periodic table. Okay, Hg.
According to this chart, Hg stands for mercury.
And S.
S stands for sulfur. So the handprint was made from mercury and sulfur.
Mm-hmm. That it was.
Need something?
I did the chemical analysis you suggested. That red hand was printed with a compound containing mercury and sulfur. Does that mean anything to you?
Sure, cinnabar. The Maya would rub it into their most important carvings to add definition to the artist's lines.
Does the museum keep cinnabar around?
We use cinnabar here at the museum the same way the Maya did, to keep things as authentic as possible. Henrik orders those kinds of supplies, but we've been out of stock for quite a while. The last I heard, there was some kind of holdup with the distributor.
I've got work to do.
Bye!
Okay, so now to follow up with the distributor. List of vendors again. Keep it real restoration. Mercuric sulfide. 6766.
You have no voicemail.
Keep it real. Max speaking.
Hi, I'm the new deputy curator over at Beach Hill Museum. I wonder if you could answer a couple of questions for me about our ordering history.
Well, hello there, Beach Hill. Hey, you're not Sunny June. Whatever happened to that guy? I suppose he caught a ride on a flying saucer, huh? What a riot. I'm sorry. Anyway, you don't need to reorder, do you? Unless you ate last week's shipment for breakfast, that is.
I love that comment about Sunny. Really helps to show us who he was even though we never meet him. Or at least in this game, we don't meet him.
You're sure it was last week?
Well, that's what it says here.
So there hasn't been a hold-up at the distributor or anything like that?
Hold up. Oh, I don't know where you heard that. We've got enough mercuric sulfide in-house to sink a ship.
Do you know who placed that order?
The initials on the order are JR.
Was the package shipped to the museum?
Oh? Oops, I guess we didn't ship it at all. It looks like the package was picked up here at the warehouse.
Can you remember anything about the person who picked up the package?
I sure can't. Guess I must have been at lunch or something.
Well, thanks for your help.
Sure thing. I hope there wasn't any problem with the stuff, was there? We only used the top-grade mercuric sulfide.
I really like both of these options.
Problem? Not that I could hold you responsible for.
Well, you sound a little green in the chemicals department, if you don't mind my saying so. I hope you know that mercuric sulfide is highly toxic. Makes you crazy.
Well, I have heard that mercury poisoning can cause hallucinations and other symptoms of psychosis.
Yep.
Oh, looks like I've got another call coming in here. You give us a call in about 4 months or so when you start to run out, okie doke? And don't forget to keep it real.
I enjoy speaking with him. I don't know, he was a good little phone contact. Okay. I don't know if we actually have to speak with Joanna about what we learned speaking with Mac. So let's do the narrations. Let's get headphones so I can do the narrations. That would help. There's my knob. Okie doke. So wherever we see this symbol, that indicates that there's a voiceover recording that we can listen to.
The Maya used different methods to represent numbers. Here is an example of the numbers from 0 to 19.
Right.
From the Maya used different methods.
Okay, so I want one about the ham radio. It's not going to be 8, could be 9.
In addition to a
Nope. Not going to be 10, 11, or 12. Let's try 13.
The date on this slab.
Nope. 14.
Strange.
Not 15, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Could be 5.
Archaeologists work in
Yes.
some.
Okay. So I really could play this in a way that would be much shorter. I could find out which ones I need to adjust and then just go to the Convomatic machine and change all them. But I don't have those answers with me. And I enjoy playing through this game. Like, I don't really want to do a speed through. So I'm actually going to take the time to figure out which exhibits need to be changed.
Although the geographic range of Maya cities is well known, it is difficult to...
Yeah, that one's fine.
Ceramic bowls, such as the one featured.
The Maya were pantheistic, believing in many gods who ruled over different...
That's fine. Ignore that. Over here, what do we have?
Lady Zach Cook ruled... I am Lord Pakal, ruler of the Maya... The Maya ball game was a religious...
Okay, I think this one needs to be changed.
The date on this slab uses the Tzolk'in, or divine calendar, made up of 20 weeks.
So I need to locate the recording that talks about Tzolk'in, change it to one about body image and piercings and things. C is one that does need to be changed.
Archaeologists work in some.
But that's not that one. D, yes.
Strange supernatural.
I forgot briefly what I was listening for. E, F, okay, those are fine. How about G?
The date on this slab...
Yes, okay. So, that's 14.
Strange super...
Nope, not 15. Not 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 was the one I did last time. So let's try 7.
The Maya used different methods.
No. Not 8, how about 9?
In addition to adorning...
Yes. Okay, so now that exhibit is set to the correct recording. And just in case someone wants an example, like if you haven't played this or just have always used a spoiler. So before this was talking about the Tzolk'in.
In addition to adorning themselves with jewelry.
Now it's about adorning. So that's been changed correctly. I think this one's fine.
Maya scribes record...
But this one should be changed.
Strange supernatural creatures sometimes...
So supernatural creatures needs to be changed to the numbering system. Oh, and I heard that one. Was that C?
Archaeologists.
No. Might have been D. That's E. I want D, please.
Strange.
Okay. I'm looking for the numbering system. 7.
The Maya used different methods.
Okay. So, I think that's it for here. Yeah. So you don't have to do the temple. There are no audio recordings, but the garden we do.
Ritualized bloodletting was a common practice among the Maya. In this panel, 3 captives wear garments associated with bloodletting. A variety of instruments, including
3 captives, that is.
Archaeologists work in some of the most remote areas of the world. Ham radios are often the only means of contact.
So, ham radio to the cephalic. isn't it?
Archaeologists work in some of the most remote...
Yes, and was it 13?
The date on this...
Nope. 14. I can try 14.
Strange, supernatural creatures.
Yeah.
Some...
Okay. So there's another one that's done. Back to the garden. Not you. Not you. Let's go around. I don't think there are many more to change. Maybe one or two? What are you?
The Maya kings were often in a protracted state of...
That one's correct. Oops, that went too far.
The 4 miniature gods clinging to the vision serpent.
That one's correct. No. This has to be the date on the Tzolk'in one, right?
In addition to adorning themselves with jewelry and costume.
So adorning to Tzolk'in. So basically they're reversed from the other exhibit. Okay. I did do G, didn't I? H, I, so maybe J.
In addition to adorning...
So the date on this slab, not 10, 11, 13? Yes.
There, that looks like it's in order.
Okie dokie. That's one more task that's been completed. The last one on the first list. Woohoo! Tasks are done. And then we still have to do this one, whoops, for Henrik. Yeah, I guess I can do that now. I was contemplating going to see Taylor Sinclair and then Alejandro, but since I'm right here, I need this. Oh, the ball game. I don't have that one memorized anymore. Let's watch this little presentation, which goes by too quickly. I don't have time to read it all. That is an area that could have been improved upon. Really gross. Eyeballs as jewelry? Ugh. Yeah, gross. Anyhow, there's that. Okay, let's play the ball game, which might take a few tries. Oh, good gravy. Medium or is it low? Medium 3? Nope. Let's try high 3. Nope. 3's wrong. Let's go with 4. I think it's medium 4. I was wrong. High 4. And I used to have this memorized. I wish I still did. Try medium 3. There. I knew that was one of them. This one I think is still medium. Medium 5 or medium 6? I did do 5, right? I asked that as though you can respond. And then low 6, I think. Oh, fantastic. I'm really glad that you guys didn't have to watch me repeat this over and over again. Only the first throw. Excellent. That's a fun little game. Okay, let's go to this computer next. So this is from Sunny's disk. If I press M on my keyboard, I've got my little maze map. Which I learned, I learned this trick on the message board. Someone had mentioned it, probably in relation to Message in a Haunted Mansion. Maybe for this game. But I was so appreciative of seeing this this posted, because I didn't know about this. I hadn't figured it out myself. It certainly makes this easier and more enjoyable. I don't like these maze games. I don't find them at all fun. I take absolutely no pleasure in these. For a second I thought I was going to a dead end. Not. And I've turned the right way. Which looks backwards, like it should have turned the other way. But they've got this map kind of weird and wonky. Which way does it want me to turn? This one. Like, I feel like it should be the other way. Yeah, like it's it's wrong. It's backwards. Whatever. Same with this one. So if I turn this way, it should be the other way, but this is correct. There's our space on the floor. And solved. And then the last one, which we can't fully do, the last question. People? Yes. This one we can't do yet. So, meh. Red light, incomplete. And that's okay. Backwards, there we go. Go back up through the temple. This is really cool space. I love this. Okay, so now, no, I'm gonna go speak with Taylor. That's right. A couple things I can do, but yeah, I think I'm gonna start by speaking with the people outside of the museum. And then we'll bring Henrik back.
It's a fiasco, just as I feared. Oh, I'm sick about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Seems a little bit over-dramatic, like he's overselling it.
Yes, your fears seem to have been quite visionary.
I was in the museum when it happened.
Do you think it's the same person who carried out those other thefts?
That awful red hand was left on Prudence Rutherford's jewelry box in Topeka, and on the display case in the museum in New Mexico. What's the chance they're not connected?
Do you know Prudence Rutherford personally?
Oh, we saw each other at functions now and then. Poor Prudence. She adored that necklace.
What's the name of the museum in New Mexico?
the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center. They had a beautiful collection up there, worth a bundle, too. I appraised some pieces for them a few years back.
I really like the way the voice actors stressed the word had, and that's something not necessarily stressing, but the way the lines are spoken in this game, I think are done really well. You can feel sort of the emotions. It's not just read, like you can feel the character behind them. There's meaning behind the words and nuance, and I do think the voice acting in this game stands out. It's one of the best ones. This and Legend of the Crystal Skull has fantastic voice acting.
Why do you think the thief is leaving this red handprint?
To be a gruesome scoundrel?
The Pakal thief's glyph message translates to, "The magician suffers yellow death." What in the world do you think that means?
You've got me there.
I'd better get going.
See you around.
Okay. And now, Alejandro, let's have a chat.
Hello, Nancy.
Why did Mexico choose to lend the monolith to Beach Hill and not some other museum?
Johanna Riggs outbid everyone. I had no idea a small museum like Beach Hill could afford such an expensive arrangement.
Do you know much about Maya glyphs?
You've got me there. I know Spanish, English, Portuguese, several indigenous languages, including Quiche and Nahuatl, but I have yet to learn the language of glyphs.
This is important, to know that he speaks Nahuatl.
Have you heard? The Pakal carving was stolen from the museum.
Well, I heard the alarms going off, but it wasn't until Henry called me that I heard the news.
Henrik called you? When? Where was he? I've been looking for him.
He called shortly after the robbery. I presumed he was calling from the museum. Is that so strange?
So, you were in the museum at the time?
I was dropping off the monolith agreement for Joanna, as I said I would.
And you didn't stop to see what was going on?
I was running late. I just figured somebody tripped a wire and I kept going. Whew.
It's odd that I didn't see you.
I was there on business, Nancy, not for tea.
Joanna is beside herself over the loss, you know.
She will get her insurance money and forget about Pakal in no time.
You are awfully unforgiving, aren't you?
It's not like her dog died. Then I would feel sorry for her. That artifact was lost to me as soon as it left Mexican soil. So my friend Pakal goes underground for a while until he is sold again. Suddenly, he turns up in Amsterdam or Hong Kong. Unless he is rightfully repatriated to Mexico, what's the difference?
Sort of a sad way to look at it.
Do you consider Henrik a conquistador, along with Joanna Riggs and Sinclair?
Henrik is a student of my culture and my heritage. Not trying to buy and sell it. We don't agree on everything, especially not baseball, but I have nothing against him.
Do you know what cinnabar is?
The red powder that the Maya used? Sure, I know it. They use it at Beach Hill too, do they not?
They do use it at the museum, but Joanna told me they haven't been able to get any in a while.
What is your point?
Joanna said the museum didn't have any, but the supplier said she ordered some last week.
Have you called the police?
I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Of course. Sister Joanna couldn't possibly be a thief now, could she?
I should get back to the museum.
Yes, you should.
Yep, I have lots of work to do. So back to the museum I go. I have phone calls to make. Should I do that first? I want to bring Henrik back into the game. Yeah. Phone calls first. Oh, I have a note. Ugh, do I have time for this? No. I love this. I think that's, her personality really comes through even in her written note.
You have no voicemail.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, to what do I owe the pleasure of this call?
I need to contact a woman named Prudence Rutherford. I noticed she's on the board of the Topeka Commission for the Arts, and that they've donated money to Beach Hill. Any idea how I might track her down?
Well, you're in luck. It so happens that Prudence and I sat on the panel of judges for the Kansas Speak No Evil Mime competition for 3 years in a row. Back when I lived in Wichita. How's that for a small world?
You judged a mime competition?
Indeed I did. I haven't talked to Prudence in about 10 years. But let's see if I still have her in this old dinosaur of a Rolodex. Ah, yes, here we go. Got a pen? It's area code 785-555-7279. What's this all about?
I think Ms. Rutherford had a run-in with a red-handed thief, much like the one who took the Pakal carving.
Ha! You're a real pro, Nancy. Say, why don't I call ahead and let Prudence know what's going on? That way I can say hello and she'll be expecting you.
That would be great, Mr. Rose.
Not a problem, dear.
Okay, and then need this number over here for Chaco Canyon. And I cannot make these phone calls from the museum phone or the lab phone. I have to do it from the hotel. And I'll do this later. I mean, I can't actually do it now. I could jot down the words I need, but that'll wait. And I'm not going to get Henrik yet. Get Henrik. I'm not going to force his reappearance just yet. I'm going to make these phone calls first. Try and make these phone calls. I think I have time. Okay, let's go. 15055551222. Try calling Chaco Canyon if they're not already closed.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, I'm hoping to speak to someone about the theft that happened there recently.
Are you the press?
No, I'm a detective investigating a similar crime in Washington, D.C.
This is Sheila Schultz, the director. What would you like to know?
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from the Beach Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I understand you had some rare Maya artifacts stolen recently.
That's right. It's a terrible loss, and the police here have no leads.
Beach Hill was robbed, too. We lost one of our prized jade carvings.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
I'm wondering if the robberies are connected. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the incident at Chaco Canyon?
Fire away.
Okay, so I have to point this out. So comparing this with the final scene, there were some really lengthy phone conversations where we didn't get to choose any of the dialogue. With this conversation with Sheila, it starts off that way, just as an introduction, but from here we actually get to ask questions. So I think this was a really good setup. And I kind of wish that the final scene had been modeled a bit more like this. And maybe they've done it this way because of feedback they got from beta testers when they made that game. Or from players after the game was released. So this is much better.
I heard the thief left a red handprint at the scene of the crime. Is that true?
Yes. It was very gruesome. It looked like blood, but according to the police analysis, the print was made with a mercuric sulfide paste.
Do you know of any symbolic meaning attached to a red hand?
Don't walk, don't go there, talk to the hand, as my 15-year-old would say? Really, I haven't the slightest idea.
Is this expression even still used? Talk to the hand? I wonder, because these things go in and out of popularity, I guess. So I don't know if that's one that teens use these days.
What types of artifacts did the thief get away with?
Only the center's most prized pieces. The case contained 5 pre-Columbian artifacts that were excavated right from this area.
Which piece would you say is the greatest loss for the center?
Definitely the jade carving. It was highly unusual. There was a glyph on it that no one could translate. Until we hired Henrik Vanderhume, that is. His opinion was that it's Mayan in origin, and that it may have been a place-named glyph for this area. As you can imagine, we regarded it as something of a regional treasure.
Do you know that Henrik Vanderhume works for Beach Hill now?
Yes, I know. His departure was a great loss for us.
Why didn't you mention the connection when I told you I was from Beach Hill?
I guess it didn't seem important.
Was Henrik still working at Chaco Canyon when the theft occurred?
No. It happened just a few days after he left. I remember because after the police left, the staff and I were so depressed, we went into the lounge and pigged out on the rest of Henrik's farewell cake.
Cake.
Was Henrik on good terms with Chaco Canyon when he left?
Well, it was awfully abrupt. As soon as he heard about that monolith, boom, he was gone. For some reason, he just had to go study it. We weren't exactly happy about it, but it's not like quitting is against the law.
When she was saying this line here, well, it was awfully abrupt, she sounded like Vivian Whitmore from The Next Game, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake, so I'm wondering if that's the same voice actor. Every now and then I tend to point these out because I'll pick up on certain words, certain sounds, and I just get curious, so I feel like voicing them.
Do you recall having some appraisal work done by an art dealer by the name of Taylor Sinclair?
How could I forget? He went on and on about the impossibly rare artifacts he could get for us. I said, "Are you an art dealer or a smuggler?" But he assured me that the provenance documents would all be in order. Still, I never did any further business with him. He just seemed slippery.
Yeah, you get that sense about him right away.
Could you send me a photo of that jade carving so I can take a look at the glyph?
I'm afraid I sent our only print off to the insurance company. They said they'd return it, but who knows when our claim will be processed. I'm sorry.
Thanks a million, Sheila.
Feel free to call if you have any more questions.
I will, just not right away. So now, let's call Prudence.
Yes, hello?
Hi, this is Nancy Drew, calling from Washington, D.C. I'm trying to reach Prudence Rutherford, please.
Oh, yes, Franklin told me you'd be calling. Such dreadful news about Beach Hill. I will do everything in my power to help you catch those rapscallions. To think how they violated the sanctity of my domicile. Good heavens.
They missed a word here. In my power to help. Just noticed that.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss. What can you tell me about the necklace?
I can't even think about it. Oh, just the very thought of my precious necklace gone, stranded, orphaned, and in the hands of some dirty stranger makes my blood boil.
Was the necklace a gift?
I inherited it from my mother-in-law. But you see, the necklace means much more to me than just a handful of priceless rubies.
Did the necklace have a lot of sentimental value?
Yes, I'm afraid it did. I had the necklace restrung to include an exquisite jade carving as the centerpiece, a genuine artifact of the ancient Maya.
That would be heavy.
The carving is not only one of a kind, but a Rutherford family heirloom given to me by my great-grandfather when I was just a little girl.
Like, imagine that being on a necklace and wearing that around your neck. I mean, I think we do see the dimensions in a photograph, of the Pakal carving, which I haven't actually paid attention to, but I picture it as being really big and bulky, and I presume it's heavy. I don't actually know what the weight of jade is, but that seems like something that would be really uncomfortable to wear around your neck.
Does the carving have any meaning that you know of?
It features a rare glyph. No one's been able to give me a precise translation, but most epigraphers have agreed that it has something to do with a snake, the color green, and the direction south. It's terribly fascinating.
I agree.
Do you think the thief or thieves had any idea of what they were stealing?
Oh, they must have known. The rest of my valuables were left untouched. Frankly, I don't know whether to be grateful or insulted.
When did you realize that you'd been robbed?
The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was this positively ghoulish red handprint on the wall. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
A red handprint was left at the scene of the crime at Beach Hill, too. Ms. Rutherford, I'm almost certain that these robberies were committed by the same person.
But why? What is so special about these carvings?
Don't pick that option. I think the first time I played this game, I picked that, and she was not thrilled with me at suggesting that she fly out to Washington. So I never picked that option.
Ms. Rutherford, it would be so helpful if I knew exactly what your carving looked like. Could you send me a picture that shows it in detail?
I can do better than a photo. The insurance company made this dreadful replica of the necklace with the idea that I would wear such a thing to public functions. Please. But I could send that to you if you'd like.
Perfect. Let me give you the address.
My secretary will have the address of the museum. Now, if that is all you will require, young lady, I will need to attend to other pressing matters.
Thanks a million, Miss Rutherford. I won't let you down.
Call me Prudence. Oh, and Nancy, when you find the villains who did this to me, do me a favor and give them a sound thrashing.
I love that line.
You're coming through loud and clear. Bye.
Okay, I know it's kind of late. No, it's not actually that late. What time is it? Oh, 6. Okay. Alrighty dighty. Let's get Henrik. I just gotta here a little ways. Here we go. Oh god. That's so dangerous.
Henrik! Henrik!
And terrifying.
Amnesia? Wow. Henrik must have taken a real nosedive off that pyramid. Do you think he just fell, Nancy? Or was he pushed? Sounds like you need to find out about hospital visiting hours. Yeah, but you'd better get the lowdown from Joanna first. George is right. She is your supervisor, after all.
Okay, so Henrik has amnesia. That's no good. We're the following day. Yeah, 10 a.m. Okay. Let's go to the museum. I don't think Joanna's back, but I have to go look through her office anyways. Might as well do this now. Although, oh, I'm going to be asked to come back here in a little bit. Whatever. We'll do some of this now. Take the key, for instance. I don't think I can take these yet.
Who knew one piece of jade could have so much history?
provenance documents like this should, I would assume, should be rather lengthy. Yeah, can't take it yet. That's okay. I will in a little bit. Okay, now, check my voicemail.
You have voicemail.
This message is for Nancy Drew. Hi, Nancy. This is Nurse Bluefoot calling from Eleanor Roosevelt Memorial Hospital in regards to Henrik Vanderhume. I believe you're a colleague of his? Since Mr. Vanderhume was admitted, he has repeated your name several times in states of semi-consciousness. As we've been unable to contact any of his family members, we're hoping you might be willing to act as Henrik's support person as he begins the difficult process of restoring his memory. Please call me as soon as possible to discuss this. My direct line is 202-555-4000. Thank you.
Nancy, it's Joanna.
Oh, right.
The police are done giving me the 3rd degree, but now the board has suspended me. To make a long story short, I'm forbidden to set foot in the museum. Could you please call Franklin Rose and try to reason with him? If we don't get a move on, this exhibit is going straight down the tubes.
To replay messages, press 0.
Excellent. So 2 important messages. Let's start with Nurse Bluefoot.
This is Nurse Bluefoot.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Nurse Bluefoot, this is Nancy Drew. You left me a message regarding Henrik Vanderhume. How is he?
Nancy Drew? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so relieved. We've been unable to locate any family members, and we do like amnesia patients to have at least one personal support person when they begin reality orientation.
What's reality orientation?
Well, reality orientation is a kind of treatment that helps a patient get reacquainted with the facts and circumstances of his or her life. Henrik has not actually lost his memory. It's just that his brain is injured in such a way that he can't access the place where the memories are stored.
That would be really stressful and anxiety-inducing to have forgotten all that. And to be trying to figure out who you are, what's going on, all that. Like, I can't even imagine what that would be like.
I see. So we need to help him find the trail of crumbs. Is that it?
Exactly. First, we do repetitive memory exercises to help Henrik relearn the basic facts, like his name and address, the name of his parakeet, if he has one, the date, and so on. Second, we try to stimulate Henrik's sensory memories in order to help trigger or find the way back to his cognitive memories.
What are sensory memories?
A sensory memory is like it sounds, something that is familiar, that you recognize by sight or touch, smell or sound or... Oh, what is that last one? Oh yes, taste. A cognitive memory is something that you know or remember intellectually. For example, how do you know the name of this planet? Somewhere along the way you learn that it's called Earth, and you just remember. But say you bump your head and forget the name of this planet. You don't know where in the solar system you're floating.
That would be most unfortunate.
Exactly. But then I show you a picture of our marvelous blue and green globe. Suddenly you remember. That glorious sight is Earth. I live on the planet Earth. This is how a sensory memory can trigger a cognitive or intellectual one.
What if the patient doesn't remember right away?
You can't help Henrik remember his childhood, but you can probably help him remember his work. And who knows where that will take him. All roads lead to Rome, as they say. One great tool is the Reality Orientation Board. This is a place to post information and pictures for the patient to look at over a period of time. You may want to bring in images or photos to place on the board. Things from the museum, perhaps.
I see. Well, I'll be happy to help in any way I can. When are visiting hours?
Visiting hours are 10 to 4 every day, if the patient is not engaged in treatment and if he seems stable.
Stable how?
Just remember, Henrik's brain has been knocked around like a peanut in its shell. He may have attention difficulties, headaches, anxiety.
Yep.
Sometimes he may seem giddy, too. We need to keep these conditions in check. Don't push him too hard, or he may have some kind of meltdown.
Thanks for the warning, Nurse Bluefoot.
Be well.
Okay, now let's call Franklin about Joanna and maybe talk about Henrik too.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, you must be psychic. I was just getting ready to call you myself.
As a matter of fact, I have been brushing up on my mind reading.
Well, thank goodness I've got you on my side. I feel I should apologize for the situation that's going on at the museum, dear. I really did think we were setting you up with a nice little internship, a breather from your casework. But instead, it looks like we've fed you to the lions.
Well, in all my travels, I still haven't found a mystery-free zone, Mr. Rose.
Speaking of travel, I got a postcard from your father in Ouagadougou. Apparently, Burkina Faso has become the cultural darling of West Africa. He must be having quite an adventure.
That'd be cool. I haven't been to West Africa, I've been to South Africa. It was quite the adventure. Beautiful place.
Like father, like daughter. Anyway, Mr. Rose, I'm calling about Joanna.
I think I know what you're going to say, Nancy. Let me be frank. Joanna Riggs has been in the doghouse with the board for months. Her thirst for acclaim has led her to gamble the future and the reputation of Beach Hill time and again. Now that we've lost the Bacall carving, one of our most notable pieces, well, she's just got to be stopped.
Just occurred to me, I think this is also the same voice actor as Taylor Sinclair. I feel like that should have been obvious right off the bat. It just struck me now.
But with Henrik in the hospital and Joanna suspended, how can we possibly get this exhibit off the ground?
Leave that to me. We'll postpone the opening if we have to. Look, I've got a client waiting, Nancy. What we need now is for you to take up the slack. I've spoken to the rest of the board, and we've agreed that the best thing is to put you in charge.
No pressure or anything for this novice in this position.
Oh, Mr. Rose, I'm not qualified to be a curator. I don't have the experience.
Maybe not, but you are the best qualified detective I know, which is just what we need right now. We're counting on you to catch this thief red-handed. Just kidding, kiddo.
It's terrible.
If you can get the Bacall back, we'll see about giving Ms. Riggs another chance. That seems fair, doesn't it?
It's a deal, Mr. Rose.
Bye, kiddo.
Okie dokie. Oh, okay. All the things I have to do. Oh, jeez. Trying to think of the best order in which to do things. I guess I'll come here first. I need to get a picture of Bacall. I just don't know if I have to go see Henrik first, or if I can go straight to Taylor to get it.
Any news?
There was an incident at the museum.
Henrik is in the hospital with a head injury.
Poor Henrik. Another squabble between him and Joanna, perhaps? Oh, I'm kidding, but I do remember the time she threatened to push him in the pond. Temper, temper, I'm always telling her.
I'd better get going.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, guess I'll have to talk to Henrik first. I also need to speak with Alejandro, so I'm going to do a quick detour to the consulate. And see if I can have the conversation I have to have with him at some point. I'm assuming I can now.
Buenos dias.
Let's do this one
Have
first.
you heard? Henrik Vanderhume fell off the pyramid at the museum. He's in the hospital with a mysterious head injury.
That is terrible news. I hope it's not too serious.
Have you heard? The police received an anonymous tip, and they're considering Joanna a prime suspect in a Bacall theft. They've taken her in for questioning.
I called in that tip. She lied about the cinnabar, and you may not know this, but she has jeopardized the museum's finances with all of her wheeling and dealing. Why should she not be questioned?
How do you know about museum finances?
I have my sources.
I should get back to the museum.
Goodbye.
Okay. I realized, like, as soon as I started to talk to him, I can't have the conversation I needed. So, everything relies on speaking, or trying to speak with Henrik first. This visit really sort of unlocks a lot of things in the game.
You look familiar. Is it time for my snack?
Hi, Henrik. I'm Nancy. We met at Beach Hill before your head injury.
Beach Hill?
Beach Hill is a museum here in Washington, D.C. Before your accident, you were working there on some important Maya glyph translations. Do you remember anything about that project?
I don't even remember my own birthday. So if you're here to squeeze me for details, you're wasting your time.
According to Nurse Bluefoot, you haven't lost any data. Your brain just doesn't know how to locate certain things at the moment. We need to give it some clues.
How, pray tell, do you intend to do that?
I'll visit, we'll talk. Sometimes I'll bring you pictures.
Pictures? Well, isn't this nice?
I don't have the picture with me.
Think of it this way. You just got back from a fabulous trip, only you can't remember the places you went. So you decide to look through postcards to see which ones you recognize.
Fine, I'll do it.
Oh, but I have this, right. I was thinking of the Bacall picture. Jeepers.
Great. These are Maya glyphs, like the ones you used to translate. Now, don't be upset if you don't know how to read them anymore. I can tell you what they mean.
I know what they mean, dear. I wrote them.
I'm sure you have written them at one time or another in your career. So, what do you think this is all about? The magician suffers yellow death.
Your translator is sloppy. I should know. I am the author of the original work.
I don't know why, but of course I can't move my mouse to circle his face, but he always reminds me of the actor Anthony Andrews when I'm speaking to him in the hospital. Not sure why, but I'm always picturing Percy Blakeney from The Scarlet Pimpernel, which is played by Anthony Andrews. Yeah, I don't know, that my brain goes there whenever I play this game. And whenever I'm in the hospital speaking with him.
You don't agree with the translation?
That first glyph is the fool, not the magician. Furthermore, any decent epigrapher knows those glyphs refer to the infamous plague of oozing hives.
Ugh.
A fitting curse for a fool, don't you think? I rather like it.
Gross.
Henrik, this note was found at a crime scene.
Are you telling me you left it there?
I don't remember.
I'm investigating the theft of the Pakal carving. Please, Henrik, try to remember something.
Who in the world is Pakal? Oh, my head. Oh, the pressure. I can't take any more today, Nancy.
Okay, it's time for some memory therapy. Nancy, could you come back tomorrow?
I guess I will have to. Okay, now let's see if I can get that picture. Need to get the picture so I can get the key, which leads to a whole bunch of things. The desk, which leads to a bunch of things.
Any news?
I need a photo of the Pakal carving. Do you have one?
Joanna took the official print for her insurance claim, but I have a couple extras. Here you go.
Yeah, that's imperial ruler, so yes, that's in inches. This is American, I should just assume. Yeah, 4 inches by 4 inches, that's a pretty big
Keep up
block.
the good work.
I assume Prudence is of the same size because it fits in the same thing later. Yeah, imagine having a 4 by 4 by 4 inch cube around your neck. That would be really bulky. Oh dear. Okay. See if I can go there while he is sleeping. I don't think I can, actually. I think that's after I get into his desk. I'm trying to figure out the sequence in which to do things. Oh, good.
Well, look who it is.
Hi, Henrik. I've come to talk Maya kings. Let's see if this photo rings any bells.
Didn't have to wait until the next day.
This will help you to remember.
That face. He's as familiar as my own feet.
Do you know his name?
Pakal! Nancy, this is the stolen carving, isn't it? And I'm the one who took it. I must have. But why? Oh, Pakal! What could I have meant by this?
If you're remembering correctly, this is a serious crime, Henrik. You've got to tell me why you did it.
I can't remember.
All I need is some idea of where to look next. I'll take any scrap of memory you've got, Henrik.
It's still in the museum.
Why would you break into the display case and steal the carving only to leave it in the museum?
To protect him. I had to protect him. Oh, Pakal! Something is going on at that museum, a devious plot. I was the only one who could stand in the way.
And it gets exciting here. You know, there's this, well, as he calls it, a devious plot. And for me, it really pulls me in and intrigues me. I'm like, ooh, okay, so this has got yet another level to it. It's exciting. Again, I feel like a real detective.
Whose plot is this? Is it someone who's involved with the museum?
Forgive me, Nancy, but when I woke up in this hospital bed, I didn't even know my own name. Perhaps the only thing I can offer you is this key. It was found in one of my pockets when I was brought in.
Do you know what lock it belongs to?
I haven't a clue. Take the key now, Nancy. Find out what it opens and return to me, please, with some answers.
You can count on me, Henrik.
In the meantime, I'll sit with my friend Pakal and see if he will tell me anything new. You must keep this to yourself for now. It's your only hope of getting to the bottom of this.
One of the pieces that was stolen from the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center was a jade carving with an unusual glyph on it. Do you remember translating it?
I can't remember.
Did you use Joanna's name last week to place an order for Cinnabar with Keep It Real Restoration?
You're asking the wrong amnesiac.
This is one of my all-time favorite lines from all of the games. I say it, or at the very least, I think it, all the time in response to things where I don't have the answer. It's fantastic.
You wouldn't try to frame her, would you?
Who knows?
You rest up. I'll be back.
I'll do my best.
Alrighty. So, let's go use this key. So many things I have to do. Okay. Need that disc. Use the key a second time for the lower drawers. Okay. I can come back to this. There we go.
Looks like I need to find someone who speaks Nahuatl.
Mm-hmm. Big bunny. Okay. Okay, the sequence here would be... There isn't another note there, is there? No. Okay, go back to Henrik, who should be snoozing. And then go speak with Alejandro. And then go back to him. And then go to the hotel. Yep, there he is, snoozing. I know the game fairly well. So now Alejandro. Actually, should I go to the museum after speaking with Alejandro? Yes. Probably. To get those documents for him and yada yada yada.
Buenos dias.
I need to know the Nahuatl word for snake. Can you help me?
What do you need that word for?
I'd rather not say. It's part of my investigation.
Now, if only I could remember the word for snake. I hear you have been a great help to Henrik. I wonder if you can help me improve my memory too.
Something tells me this translation is going to come with strings attached.
Yep.
I am almost certain that the provenance documents for the Pakal carving were falsified. I have asked Joanna to see the documents, but she evades me. If you can find that file in her office and bring it to me, I think it might help my memory of Nahuatl a lot.
First, you tell me you were unconcerned about the theft of the Pakal carving, and now you have an urgent need to see the provenance documents? Is it just me, or is this a little suspicious?
If I can determine that the provenance documents are a fraud, this will be the first major step toward legal repatriation of the artwork, whenever and wherever it resurfaces.
Okay, Alejandro. I'll see what I can do.
I feel my Nahuatl coming back to me already. Do you know what Sihuapili means? Princess or lady. Now, if only I could remember the word for snake.
And that is copied from a couple pieces of dialogue ago. Completely reused it.
I should get back to the museum.
Goodbye.
Okay. Yeah. Go to the museum, get the documents, go back to Alejandro, then go to the hospital, and then the hotel. That, I think, is the most efficient order of doing things. What am I doing? I was thinking about Henrik in the hospital, so I was going to the lab. I want to go to Joanna's office. There we go. Time. Ooh, I should have gone to the hospital first. Ooh. Well, hopefully this won't take very long.
Hello, Nancy. You have a special delivery for me, I hope?
Here's your file, as requested.
Good work, my friend. I suppose you would like something in return?
I trust your Nahuatl has become fluent again.
The Nahuatl word for snake is coatl. C-O-A-T-L.
Muchas gracias. Gotta go.
Adios, Nancy.
Yes, I have to hurry over to the hospital before the visiting hours end. Didn't think about that before I left the museum. Time hasn't changed at all.
Nancy, you have brought me back to my work.
You recognize the riddle then?
I've been working like a fiend. Look at the board.
Interesting and important.
This has something to do with the plot at the museum, Nancy. I'm sure of it.
Who was this whisperer of silent secrets?
The Whisperer came from a distinguished line of royal scribes. I can't seem to remember her name, but I do recall that she wrote an account of Maya history that greatly angered Pakal because of the way it depicted his ascent to the throne.
How did Pakal wish to be depicted?
From the age of 12, when he came to the throne, Pakal claimed to be divinely appointed the first true authentic king of the Maya. Then, the Whisperer came along and wrote that Pakal was only king because his mother pulled some strings. It was quite a blow to Pakal's image.
So he put her in a stone prison?
Pakal swore that the Whisperer's words would never see the light of day. He put her body, her soul, and her writings all in a tomb and locked it up tight.
Wait, Henrik, a prison of stone? We're not talking about the monolith, are we?
That's the idea.
How exciting and gruesome.
Does anyone else know about this?
Good question. I'm certain that there's a dirty rat trying to get into that tomb. This is where my memory fizzles out. If I could only figure out why I took the Pakal.
This is important information, Henrik. Don't you think the police should be informed?
Please don't breathe a word of this. There's too much at stake.
Have you ever been part of a smuggling racket?
I don't know.
Don't just ask that casually.
You rest up. I'll be back.
Be careful.
Okay. Okay, to the hotel. Tanzahab. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is needed for the temple quiz. Okay. So there's Prudence. Daddles, important, so 605-555-3195. Pen Fool. Call. So that was contacts. Okie dokie. So now, I have some phone calls to make. So I'm gonna call the one first. This is long distance. 1-505-555-222. Call Sheila again. I do have to speak with her a second time.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, this is Nancy Drew calling.
Hi, Nancy. It's Sheila. What can I do for you?
I've just got to get my hands on a replica of that jade carving you lost. Do you have any ideas?
Not off the top of my head, but maybe one of my staff will have a bright idea. I need some time to ask around. Can you call back later?
Sure thing.
Feel free to call if you have any more questions.
Okay, and then let's call Henry Daddle.
Daddle residence.
Hi, may I speak to Henry Daddle, please?
Speaking.
Mr. Daddle, my name is Nancy Drew. This is a long shot, but I'm calling regarding a Maya artifact that was bought at auction in 1898 by one Henry Albert Daddle. Does that ring any bells?
Sure. Henry Albert Daddle Sr. was my great-grandfather. You're talking about the jade carving, right?
Yes, exactly. Wow, I can't believe my luck.
Well, it's a lucky life if you ask me. So what can I do for you?
I'm investigating a recent rash of thefts around the country involving similar Maya artifacts. Any information you could give me about the one your great-grandfather bought would be very helpful.
I see. Well, I was the last to inherit the carving, but my daughter Penelope was so intrigued with it that I gave it to her. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you about it. Why don't you give her a call on her line? It's 555-3197.
Will do. Thanks, Mr. Daddle.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we're going to call her now. 3197. Some great conversations that can come out of this phone call, depending on your options.
Hi, is this Penelope?
Not even.
Oh, is this 605-555-3197?
Yeah, but no one calls me Penelope anymore. Except my parents, that is. To my friends, the art world, and anyone else who made it out of the 20th century, I'm Poppy.
The art world? Wait, you're not Poppy Dada, are you?
Ta-da! Ping ping! You win! Who's this?
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm a detective.
A detective? No way! So do you get to wear a sassy tweed hat and pick hairs off dead bodies and gross, creepy stuff like that?
I love talking to Poppy. Let's see.
Actually, I try to keep a low profile, and a tweed hat, well, it's a little conspicuous.
So, where'd you get my name? Don't tell me I'm like wanted by the FBI or something. That would be too scandalous.
I want the long-winded, funny conversation, so I'm not going to talk about Taylor. I'm going to talk about her dad.
No. You see, it's all a big coincidence. Your dad's name came up in connection with a case I'm working on.
Go Dad. Don't tell me he's wanted by the FBI. I'll be so jealous.
Actually, I called hoping your dad could help me solve this case.
That's hot. What's a case? Are there dead bodies involved? Do you need to, like, tap my phone or impersonate me or something?
Someone is stealing Maya antiquities, jade carvings to be exact, and leaving this scary red handprint at the scene of every crime.
Ghastly. So, what's with the red hand?
It's printed with this stuff called cinnabar. Nobody seems to know what it means. All I know is the more I investigate, the more complicated it gets.
Drama. So, where do the daddles come in?
I'm trying to track down certain Maya jade carvings that haven't fallen into the thief's hands yet. I think one of them might be in your family.
You mean that ancient green rock with the weird symbol on it? I slapped some shoe polish on it and stuck it in one of my paintings.
You're kidding. That's a one-of-a-kind Maya artifact, a piece of history. It's hundreds of years old. It's worth a lot of money.
That's the whole point. Have you heard the saying that a work of art is never finished, just abandoned? Well, I'm taking that idea to the limit. by making art that will keep changing as different people encounter, perceive, and interact with it. I'm tired of artwork that says, "Don't touch." I'm all about letting go, about sending my work into the world and seeing how it continues to become. Don't you see? It's an organic process. I mean, how can people really relate to art if it doesn't come to life and grow and die, just like they do? That carving is part of something bigger now.
And again, I just want to point out I love the voice acting. I love the way she delivers these lines.
It seems awfully reckless to me, not to mention the wrench it throws into my investigation.
Oh, Nancy, don't be such a prude. Taylor's probably still got that artwork. At least, I don't think he sold it yet. Why don't you ask him? Tell him you want to see the piece called Deadly Midnight Snack. It's the one with the rubber shark.
And because I haven't actually mentioned Taylor myself, like, she assumes I know him. She shouldn't, the way this conversation's gone.
Deadly Midnight Snack. I think I know the one you mean. But I'd rather not bring Taylor into this, if it's okay with you. I'm just not sure whether I trust him.
Fine with me. I know the big bunster, Mr. Bunnytron. Well, he rubs some people the wrong way. Has Taylor been pushing those Oaxacan cookies on you? You haven't eaten one, have you?
So far, I've managed to politely decline. I take it you advise against them?
Let's put it this way. His trip to Oaxaca was about 2 years ago, and he's been trying to move those rancid lard biscuits ever since.
Aha! My suspicions are confirmed. I'll put that in my case notes.
Cool. If you really need the carving to crack this case, why don't you just go ahead and take it?
But wouldn't it ruin your painting?
Of course not. After all, this is a chance to enact exactly what I've been talking about, the organic process, inviting my viewers to interact with my work. The deal is, you can take the carving, but you have to put something in its place.
Something in its place? Like what? An old shoe? A subway token? A movie stop?
No, it should be something more organic. Stay with the title, Deadly Midnight Snack. And don't be afraid to go way out. As an artist, I can tell you that inspiration bites in the most mysterious ways.
I'll do my best.
Right on. But let's keep Taylor out of this. He'd probably blow a gasket if he saw you tampering with the merchandise. That's all art is to him, you know. Merchandise.
This is almost a continuity error. I already said I didn't want Taylor to know. And now it's as though she's come up with the idea. It's one of the problems with this game, and there aren't many.
I'll make sure he doesn't detect a thing.
Good luck, Nancy.
Thanks, Poppy. Bye.
I don't think I had the conversation I wanted to. I think I must have selected one of the wrong options, but you can have an even more long-winded conversation about cases and Poppy being kind of nosy about being a detective. Okay. Taylor's probably not at his office.
He won't be there this late.
No. But I want to go to Beach Hill. Doesn't actually matter, but... Well, I can try doing the ham radio, actually. I was just going to look for the package from Prudence. Which has not arrived. Oops. Okay. Well, let's see if we can do the ham radio. Okay. So the steps to do this. So 2050 is the station. So they give a bunch of numbers. Take the last 3 and add a 0. And then all of the original digits, add them together. Add all. And add that to the modified number. Okay. Oh yes, I need Lesh and Coatl. Okay, cool. That's not what I want to do. And I need Morse code. Okay. Lesh. Oh, rats. Do you think I can see what this is? No. What a bummer. This stupid recording box. The first time it's actually stopped me from figuring out, or from blocking information I need. Well, that is the power of having a cell phone at my side, and I can Google. Let's see. Morse code. Brilliant. Which means I'm not even going to write these down because I'm just going to look at it on my phone. Perfect. Or as close to perfect as can be given the situation. And this isn't going to work.
The radio tube went out.
Normally I get the other tube, but I've forgotten this time. I'm so focused on remembering all the other things I have to do. Which is fine. I mean, this is sort of in proper sequence. I'm normally ahead of the game. When I play this, I get it early. Okay. Take that out. Put that one in. Okay, again, I can't see. I'm assuming that one's a 0. No. Is it really not going to let me click these? What a nuisance this recording box is. I cannot click this. So I may have to record this. Or play this without recording it. There's no way I can touch this. Alright, well, this is going to jump ahead because that is the only way I can do this. So I'll catch you after I've contacted the smugglers. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've contacted the smugglers. So that's done. Yeah, what a drag this thing gets in the way. And I did try with OBS to record this earlier, but again, it was giving me a black screen. So, anyhow. So, before I leave, we now also have the last answer that we need for this quiz. So, I'm gonna do that. Oops. Alrighty. Okay, so now we can move forward and do this. Okay, 12 Caban. One that to me looks kind of like a face. And I also want to know Lamont for later. Okay, 12, 11, 12. Get off that face. That's Lamont. Different face, different face, different face. There it is. Did I do this wrong? Come on. Oh, because I was at 7, not 12. Duh. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Oh goodness. I think I need to sleep. As does Nancy. It's 8 in the evening. But I want to do a little bit of this stuff first. So I know I can't do this, but I'm going to just do that anyways. And then, but where is it? It's over here somewhere. There we go. Okay, so these ones I actually have the order for. Death, Travelers, and then Moon. War, Rain, Sun, and then whatever's left, which is corn, right? Yeah. Okay. That way you don't have to see me figuring that one out. And then try to do this, but won't actually be able to.
I have a feeling this may be one of Sonny's tricks.
Mm-hmm. So next time we talk to Henrik, we'll be able to get that information. So for now, we get to go through the temple all the way again. And then Nancy's gonna call it a night. Hotel. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's set this for 10 a.m. because that guarantees the visiting hours will be, open, even though we're going to do a few things before visiting Henrik. Okay, let's see if I can call Sheila again. So she is 15055551222.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, this is Nancy Drew calling.
Hi, Nancy. It's Sheila. Well, we racked our brains. Finally, one of my staff came up with the original box that the carving was packed in. The piece was encased in a tight foam cast to prevent damage during shipping. I'm not sure how much good it'll do you, but I can send it to you if you like.
Oh, yes.
That just might work.
Henrik left Beach Hill as his forwarding address, so I know what to do. I'll send it express.
Thanks a million, Sheila.
Good luck with your investigation.
All right, so that sort of brings us to another piece, which we have to wait for to come in the mail. So let's go get one that we actually can pick up right away. Do this before speaking with Henrik.
Any news?
No.
Mind if
I help myself to one of those scrumptious-looking Oaxacan cookies?
Be my guest.
Hello, rancid lard biscuit.
May I take a closer look at that wacky Dada painting?
Be my guest. I just had a call from Poppy this morning. She says she's in a really creative period right now. I said, please, sweetie, if you get any more creative, they're going to lock you up.
Pardon me a moment, Nancy. I'll be right back. I hope.
I always wondered why he left. Like, how am I supposed to interpret that? Is that indigestion from his horrific biscuits? Or does it have to relate to his black market schemes and he's worried? Ah, and there's that music. Each time we get one of these not Pakal, but jade pieces, we hear this tune. And I do know I have to speak with Henrik, but before I could speak with Henrik, I need that parcel to come from Copan. So, let's see if it's arrived. There it is. Yay. Okay, and these have to be cross-eyed. We learned this through museum, one of the exhibits, about how the Maya like to adorn themselves. It's attractive to have crossed eyes. There we go, there's that track again. Each time we get the jade carving. Okay, so now should be able to speak with Henrik about a couple of things. So it might even be the last time that we have to speak with him. I think it is.
Good afternoon, young lady.
This is a long shot, but do you know what animal Pakal was afraid of?
You're asking the wrong amnesiac.
Henrik, I received a note from your friends in Copan. I've got the Copan Fool Key. I still need the Pakal, though. How's your memory?
The tomb. Nancy, I hid the Pakal carving in the replica of the Pakal tomb at the bottom of the temple exhibit. Huh. Now, how did I think of that? And another thing, you'll need to get past that computer quiz. Sonny set it up with an impossible question. No one knows what Pakal was afraid of, but Sonny was petrified of the Coatamundi. It's an ornery bandit with a narrow snout and a long ringed tail, much like a raccoon or a polecat.
Why would he be afraid of a Coatamundi? Like, has he ever been exposed to one? I don't know where they're native to. It just seems sort of random. Although I suppose I shouldn't judge. I'm just curious about that.
According to your notes, Pakal made a 6-part key to the Whisperer's tomb and scattered the pieces around the world. Do you remember anything about this?
6 keys? 6 keys? 6 keys! Nancy, what are the 4 corners of the world? North, south, east, and west. Plus the first king, Pakal himself, and the Copan Fool. When they're all assembled, they open the tomb. Don't you see? This is why I stole the Pakal, to prevent some other schemer from putting the key together.
Exciting. Really like the storyline. It's really coming together.
Maybe I'd better tell Joanna what's going on.
You must keep this to yourself for now. It's your only hope of getting to the bottom of this.
You rest up. I'll be back.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so there's still some stuff to do, but I feel like we are in the home stretch. Yeah, just have to get the rest of those pieces. I have to go finish the temple stuff first. Yeah, not that much left to do. Oops. Last sort of quiz thing. Woohoo! Okay.
It's locked.
Open this door. We're not going through it. I'll have to backtrack. Because we need the call carving. And there it is. Oh, success. And our glow stick. Very important. And now, let's go out this way. I'd be a little scared of falling, walking in this dark space.
Something's missing here.
And I'll get that soon. Not quite yet. And as I'm going this way, I realize this is the long way. I need to get back into the lab. Or not the lab. The shipping and receiving room. To give me packages. Yes. From Prudence. There we go. One more down. One more to come in the mail, and one other one still to get. Now it's time to call Franklin Rose.
You have no voicemail.
Yeah, we're right near, pretty much right near the end.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose.
May I speak to Franklin Rose, please?
Who may I say is calling?
This is Nancy Drew.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, how's your investigation coming along?
I'm making good progress, and the Pakal carving is safe and sound.
Yes, it is.
But I'm afraid I can't tell you everything yet.
What in the world are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but I can't explain everything now. I'll take good care of the carving, I promise.
What can I say, Nancy? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Do what you have to do, but let's get this mess cleaned up, all right?
So you'll call Joanna and invite her back to work?
I'll call her right away.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
And she will come right away. Okay, let's see, has that last package arrived? No. Maybe after I speak with Joanna. She will be back in her office. She would have zipped right on over. She was keen to get back to work. See, there she is.
Thanks for clearing my name, Nancy. Honestly, I mean, what kind of moron would I be to try and ruin my own exhibit? Anyway, we need to make up for lost time. I need you to go to the storeroom and start unpacking some of those crates. One of the pieces has a fancy security device on it. The code is 0677.
0677, okay.
Sure thing, Joanna. I'll see you later.
Semper ubi sabubi.
Right back to business. Let's go over here. There's one more piece. Just need one more. Has it arrived? Yes! There it is. Oh goodness. Truly in the home stretch. Very excited. Okay, let's make our last piece. I really like that the lab is not just a setting, but we actually get to utilize some of the machinery here. It really makes it feel complete.
According to Henrik's notes, I need to make a key out of these pieces.
Okay, so I know the top doesn't go on. Let's face that way. It might be this way. No, one more turn. And then I think this one. And this one. That one. Yep. And the last piece.
Now I have the key!
Yeah, there we go. It's complete. So close to the end. I'm very excited. But before we put that in there, we need the Sulkin. Sulkin? However it's pronounced.
Wow, these are heavy. I'm not sure I can hold on to these stones for very much longer. I've got to put these things down.
You will. We will, very soon. Oh, come on. There we go.
The poem said, when the first king ascends again.
Which I think was 6 Lamont. And I'm going to read these properly this time. That's 5. That's 6. And then Lamont. This one. We can actually look at this here. How cool. Now
This side looks damaged.
To put the key in.
I'll have to choose which side of the cube goes here.
I think it's this one. Yep. So I think we do this on all 4 sides. Halfway there.
Interesting.
I like that she's just commenting on all 4 sides of the model. And the last.
This should be the last step.
Uh-huh, that's right.
I wonder what's inside.
My goodness. That would be kind of horrifying to see that. It's kind of gruesome too, isn't it?
It's blank.
Who's your friend, Nancy?
Ugh.
Boo.
Taylor Sinclair.
Who'd you expect, the Tooth Fairy? Looks like someone forgot her beauty cream. I guess we can't all age gracefully.
I'm sure she would say the same about you.
You've been a top-notch assistant, Nancy, but I'm afraid you're just not going to make it in the art world.
Why are you doing this?
Nancy, do you have any idea what that book contains?
I like her comment here. Smart response.
Help me out, Sinclair. I'm drawing a blank.
The Whisperer's writings are the only known personal account of Maya life, the only written glimpse into Bakal's time anywhere. Do you know what I can get for that thing on the black market?
Goodness.
You have no right to do this. The book is not yours to sell.
Simple economics suggest otherwise. And I am the art dealer.
This tomb and all of its contents belong to Mexico.
Finders keepers, I say. Nobody even realizes this thing has any contents. Won't they get a surprise when they finally open it up and find that it contains a 7th century scribe and a 21st century detective? Adios, Nancy.
That would just be horrifying to get locked in this space. Goodness. Go open the mouth, which is gross and creepy.
I'm starting to run out of air in here. This may be the scribe's notes about Bakal.
Okay, let's escape. And have a weird welcoming party, as we're about to see.
Behold! Our heroine emerges from the tomb, like a mermaid from the sea.
Meanwhile, the foolish
Hi,
villain
everybody.
stews in the sour soup of his own miscalculation.
From deep in the recesses of time, a wise royal scribe whispers her thanks.
And a priceless chapter of history is rescued from obscurity. Way to go, Nancy!
What in the world? Ah! Confound you, Nancy Drew!
Dear Dad, it was great to talk to you on the phone last night. I can't wait to see you back in River Heights where I can fill you in on the whole story. Can you believe that your own daughter was recently standing face to face with a real mummy? Now that the scribe's book has been recovered, I understand how important it is and why Taylor thought he could make a fortune selling it on the black market. The book contains one of the only personal accounts of Maya life in existence anywhere. I'm sure it'll be a tremendous addition to our knowledge of the Maya once it's translated, that is. And now that Henrik's memory is back up to speed again, I'm sure he'll be itching to get to work on it. Taylor Sinclair won't be making any art deals for a long time, though, that's for sure. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about Alejandro's discovery that the Pakal carving's provenance documents were faked after all. When Franklin Rose and the board found out, they arranged to return the artifact to Mexico right away. Mexican officials are so happy to have the artifact back, they have pledged a new era of diplomatic relations with Beach Hill. Joanna sure learned her lesson about making deals with shady operators like Taylor. The board has agreed to give her another chance, as long as she reforms her business tactics. And what else? Oh yes, Papi Dada's announced a new direction in her artwork. All her new paintings are going to feature, what else? Mysterious red handprints. So I guess everyone is taking off in new directions now. I'm going to stay and help this exhibit get launched. But I'll see you back at home in a couple of weeks. Have a safe trip home. Love, Nancy.
And now for a trailer. Teaser trailer. The first one. Ugh.
Dear Nancy, Bess and George told me you're on a case in D.C. I hope everything is working out for you. I wish I could say the same for me. I'm planning on living here, but there's been some trouble. I think someone or something doesn't want me here. Please, Nancy, I'm afraid I can't stay here very much longer. I know you're busy, but I'm desperate. I need you to come out and investigate. Please say you will. Your friend, Sally.
And there we go. Solved another Nancy Drew adventure game. Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Such a good game. And this is such a good track, which I've said so many times, but I really love it. It's just so upbeat and positive. It makes me happy. It makes me want to groove. Oh, so good. Alright, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that ending. So it's super weird that you have this like welcoming party once you exit the monolith. Joanna, Henrik, and Alejandro. Like, why were they there? What brought them there? Were they expecting Nancy to come out? Did they see the altercation, for lack of a better word, with Taylor? Like, it's so bizarre. And then speaking about Taylor, this I think is the first time where Nancy's not actually there to capture him. She does confront him, but she's not there to, stop him. He does get stopped in the end, but he does first get away and then the police get involved. So that's a little different with this game, which I don't mind. Yeah, this game it's just so great. I love the music, as I've said 5,000 times. I really like the characters, even if I don't, care for the characters. Like Taylor Sinclair, horrible person, we would not get along, but he's done really, really well. Joanna and her sarcasm and just her attitude toward everything I find really amusing and kind of relatable. Alejandro, I can appreciate his passion and his dedication to his work. He's maybe a little bit stubborn, and it's almost concerning just how frustrated he gets with his concern about thievery and just view of things as being thievery, even if they're technically not. So he's an interesting character in that regard, and I quite like that personality he has. It's a nice mix. And then Henrik Vanderhume, he's basically a historian, and I really like sort of his dedication to his work, and it's an interesting story of him basically being a thief, because he steals the Pakal carving, and we can assume he's stolen the other jade carvings. It's not actually outright stated, but he's able to get those items back, or at least he orchestrates their theft, and he's doing this horrible thing in order to protect them and to protect the monolith and the Whisperer and her documents. So there's some levels to what he does, his actions, that I think are really interesting. I really like this story about this art thievery, and we're not searching, well, we're kind of searching for a treasure, but not quite in the same way as some of the previous games like Treasure in the Royal Tower and Message in a Haunted Mansion. I mean, we are searching for historical artifacts, these antiquities, which you could view as a treasure, and then the contents of the monolith, these historical documents. I guess you could say they're a treasure, but it's not quite the same as some of the earlier games. So I like the story, the theme, and the plot. I really love that we talk about the black market and not just mention it, but actually kind of delve into it, especially when we're speaking with Alejandro. and sort of the how real it is, and the measures people take, like falsifying the provenance documents. That really happens. So I really appreciate that this game gets into those nitty-gritty details. It's a great story. I just love what we learn in it. And I love how much we learn about other things in this game. It's so involved. There's a lot of history. We're learning all about the Maya. Some of the figures may or may not be real, but this game is great in terms of educational elements. I love it. I love how involved it is. It's also, up to this point of the first 6 games, I think it's the game that has the most puzzles and tasks, the most work for Nancy to do. She's not just interviewing and looking at things, but there's a lot of hands-on activity. We're in the museum and we're completing tasks, solving quizzes, using the ham radio to communicate with these other people to get this jade carving, on the phone a lot. And I don't really like being on the phone, but it's useful in this story, and that's sometimes how you have to do research. In this game, it is how we get information, it's how we make our contacts, it's how we get some of the jade carvings. So I do feel like there's a lot of work that Nancy does in this game, which I also really appreciate. I love the setting, and I love how detailed it is, in particular the museum. You have sort of the main hall, which has these aisles of slightly different subject matter, all relating to the Maya. And then you go into the garden, which continues with the story. And then you have the monolith, just centered in that space. And you also have the temple that you can go up and into and deal with these quizzes and other activities. There's just so much detail. And there are a bunch of things you can look at that you don't have to look at. I really appreciate, and I've said this before, and I will continue to say it, that in these earliest of games that Her Interactive released, they took a lot of time to put in a lot of extra details. You're able to look at things that don't necessarily drive the story forward. They're not necessary for Nancy to look at in order to solve the case, but it enriches the game. It gives us this additional value that I think is so wonderful and really lacks in later games. So I can't help but praise the company for all the work it put into these earlier games, especially this one. This one is a top-notch game. Other things to talk about, I enjoyed the phone characters. They're all a little different. Mac was kind of funny. Silvio Jr. wasn't super friendly. The daddles were neat. I enjoyed speaking with Sheila, and we got to speak with her a couple of times. That was nice. And Prudence Rutherford, who is a great phone contact, and minor spoiler alert, we're in contact with her again on 2 more occasions, which I really appreciate. They thought to bring her back. Same with Sunny June. He's mentioned in this game, and we don't meet him, but he was a character that Her Interactive decides to bring back also in later games. So there's a lot to this game. It has a lot of substance. It's a great story. Yeah, I can't do anything but praise it. It's superb. I love it. So I'll leave it there so that I'm not repeating myself over and over. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game as much as I do. And I'm looking forward to doing my next playthrough, which will be Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. So see you then. Have a great day and stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.